Hello mga kabiyaya, nandito na naman po kami. I'm really glad to open this new season with...
No way that dogs are here for us to be cruel with.
Very admirable advocacy, animal welfare.
How can you fight impunity in terms of...
Catch or territorial, kapag inalis niyo yan dyan, bibigyan ko lang kayo ng 3 linggo.
When I saw you, parang bakit yung mga Pilipinas? Saan galing si Miss Rina?
I'm really glad to open this new season with Dustin and Janel. How can we say this? Storytellers, scriptwriter, director, producer, involved in difficult stories, no? Mga kwentong siguro, it's alright. It's okay. It's part of it. She has Pampers, so we have no problem. Okay, well, she got to do her thing.
Yeah.
Put that in, So mga kwento, mahilig yung Pilipino sa kwento. Makwento po kami. Yung traditions po namin is parang binibigay or ang pamana para sa pagkatao namin. Right? And as a nation, and it's very tribal, no? Iba't ibang mga kwento. Kung taga-Norte ka, iba yung kwento. Yeah. Kung taga-Bisaya, at kung mga Tagalog, iba din yung kwento, di ba? So, welcome, Dustin and Janel. We don't have a format. It's really a kwentuhan. I do have some cue cards, but yeah. So just share whatever you want and just feel relaxed. Are you comfortable being in front of the camera?
We're okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
No, because
Thank
some are not. Some they only want to be behind the camera.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Rina.
Yeah. So how do you pronounce this? A.ni.mál.
Mamamatay tayo pare-pareho dahil sa aso na yan!
Wala akong pake.
Hindi ka mahilig sa aso!
Mahilig ako sa aso, Dad. Ikaw yung hindi mahilig sa aso. Ilang beses na ako nagpapabili ng aso and you never got me one. But the truth is, Dad, I've always wanted a dog. Ilang beses ko lang sinabi sa'yo na gusto ko ng aso! Gusto ko ng aso! Gusto ko ng aso!
Well, one of the reasons why there are periods there and there's an apostrophe was for us to differentiate our film from all the other titles that have a similar spelling or using the similar word. And also, it's the syllabication of and pronunciation of animal. Because that's
But
how
that's
we
a
want.
very Spanish word. Is it the same way in Tagalog? It's not like hayop.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's precisely spelled that way to mean hayop, or to imply that it's a derogatory term. So it's meant to be a double meaning thing, whereas it refers to animals, but at the same time, it's also animal.
Yeah, the person, the human.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who are often more animal than animals. Right?
Yeah.
What I saw a little bit about your what you've produced in the past, the films that you make. They touch on certain topics that are not the easiest to talk about. How come? How come this is your interest?
Specifically because of the festival platform.
Okay.
There are movies that don't really get made outside of the Cinemalaya because of with the Cinemalaya, there's a lot of creative freedom with regard to the themes that we're able to tackle. And a lot of the things that I wanted to tackle is, for example, what's going on in society right now, and with regard also to our culture and certain things that happen that create obstacles for our country to progress. So mostly sometimes I tackle corruption, and not every platform has the, let's say, audacity to feature stories like that, which is why only in the Cinemalaya are we able to tell stories like these.
You're from UP.
I went to LaSalle. I took my MA in UP, but I did not finish. Yeah.
No, I'm
I-
just wondering because a lot of people say, oh, taga-UP yan, kaya ganun yun, ganun.
Actually, I went to LaSalle.
You went to LaSalle in Taft.
Yes po.
Okay. Yeah, my brother went there too. Yeah, so how about in choosing, so that's in choosing your topics. How about in choosing your actors? Because I mean this with no criticism, but there seems to be also a certain mold for an actor or an actress has to look this way or that way. More or less, there's like a stamp or a, do you go, rarely in, I guess it's a commercial Filipino thing versus Cinemalaya. Rarely do we have, there are some very good looking actors and actresses who are very talented. But I always make the distinction between celebrity, movie star, and actor, right? So in your choice for actors to play out your movies, something clicks, you saw them, or they completely from the theater, people who are not known? How do you go through that process?
Personally po, I pick people from who have experience in theater, not because of a bias that they're better at what they do, but because of a certain culture of preparation. Because in theater, it's a common thing for actors to work weeks at a time, studying their role, having meetings, and not every mainstream actor has the time for that or the willingness, because they're like, this is not how we do it in movies. And also, it has something to do with the way we shoot our films.
Can you explain that?
Oh yeah, because sometimes since it's an independent film, there's not a lot of money involved. So we rely a lot on the grants. So that means less money, less days of shooting, and less opportunities for mistakes. So usually what we do is that the actors train to play the whole scene without cuts, so that they have to really remember their lines and they have to act over long periods of time during longer takes, which is why it requires a specific type of actor also.
Have you had an movie star actor who you'd like, let's say all of those barriers are not there?
I think I'd like to work with John Lloyd for one. Yeah.
He's very mabango tingnan, ha? Mabango, and he fits that mold.
Yeah.
But I've met him a few times. I think he has a lot of how should I say, texture to him.
Yeah, and
There's
I
a lot
think
of fiber.
That's
to
one of the
him.
things that I look for in actors, which is also why madalas po yung kawork ko are people I know, because
So who are those? Not that I know. I don't know too many actors. I don't have cable.
I have a usual cast of character actors like Jojit Lorenzo, Francis Macal Ignacio, Paulo O'Hara, Between Escalante.
Between.
Yeah.
Now that's a belter. She sings when she can also act.
And the reason for that is because when I cast people, I have to know them as people. Miss Dolly De Leon also, because I want to put them in positions where they can succeed. I don't want to put them in positions where they'd have to struggle to play the roles. So when I have a role in mind, I already have actors, a short list of actors who could play these roles that I create.
So there's a certain connection when you do that. So this film is also connected because you're a fur dad,
Yeah.
right? Corruption, politics is because not perhaps, you are definitely connected, entrenched in seeing our country succeed.
Yeah.
Whatever, in whichever way you feel, whatever that means to you. Because succeeding can mean different things to different people,
It's true.
right? You could actually say you're being able to finish this film is already a success. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the critics say, although
That's
it would
true.
be nice.
Yeah, because I'll let Janelle tell the story
Yes,
of how we
please.
almost backed out of the
Okay, come on,
project.
Janelle. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so we almost backed out of the project because I was undergoing chemotherapy
Oh, sorry to hear.
when we were announced as finalists. And we also had an entry last year where we had investors, and I couldn't ask them for money again because we just asked them for money for the film last year. So Dustin was saying, "Oh, like maybe we should back out." And I told him, "No, I wanna fight for this film because it's, like it has animal rights, welfare, just to bring that to light because it's not very common to have films like that feature animals." So I was like, "Okay, I want to fight for this." So we did it only using the grant money, which was like 2 million. 1 million is from Cinemalaya, 1 million is from FDCP.
What's that, FCP?
The Film Development Council of the
Okay.
Philippines. So they support like all the filmmakers in the Philippines. And a film usually costs at least like 5 million. So we did it at 2.5 with the help of our friends. I told him, let's not back out because we have friends who will help us. So the people, our crew, like said na parang, let's try to do it 4 days with this budget. We'll look for the locations and the right partners. And Biyaya is one of the companies who like helped us
At the
make
drop
this-
of a hat.
to make us all come true. So we are super thankful.
Yeah, none of this
Yeah.
would be possible without your help because
no,
every
no.
peso really.
No. Don't think that way. You will be helping so many animals, I feel, from this story. But tell me, how was it to want to continue, given that you were trying to heal?
I guess helping for me is also healing.
Yes.
Like I can't think of a better way to heal knowing that I'm helping others heal. Doesn't matter if it's humans, animals. I just want a better world for all of the living
Yeah.
creatures.
Well, it's nice to know that you have that much awareness. I often say, if I have a problem, give me a bigger problem so that I can forget
Yeah.
the other problem, or at least temporarily, because sometimes you're stuck, right? And you're in a really dark place, and having another problem, it's like a camera.
Yeah.
You focus on something else.
And what she told me was she didn't want chemo to be the only thing on her calendar.
Of course.
Yeah, so she wanted to look
God bless
forward
your
to something
courage.
great.
I mean, if life is short, if something's gonna happen to me, I want my life to be like really meaningful. Like I do the things that I love, and I help as much living things this earth that I can help.
So you have a very strong bond, the two of you.
Yes.
That's very special.
Thank you.
And how's the bond with your animals? How does the bond with the animals, with your fur kids, how does and then their plight? How did it translate? How did you come up with this idea? Was it, like me, sometimes in the middle of the night, pook, I wake up, wait, or early in the morning, I have this idea that creeps in between the real being awake and still semi-asleep. How did you how did this idea or the story come to mind?
Before I answer that, I just want to talk about a little bit of trivia.
Sure, go.
how badly Janel fighted for the project.
Please,
because
please.
two of our works actually qualified for the top 20 before
Wait,
this.
hang on. Explain. What does it mean to qualify?
Because as part of the process of the Cinemalaya, when you qualify as part of the top 20, you have to undergo a workshop, which would then allow you to get criticism from other people in order to improve your work. So two of our films qualified for the top 20, but we can only proceed with one of them. So the other one was another drama about masculinity, and this one was about animals. And when I was asked to choose, Janelle was the first one who said animals. I want to do animal. I want to do the film with our dog. So that's how badly she wanted to do it. And I think one of the reasons why is, personally, myself, I didn't have a very, I had a complicated relationship with animals in general because as children, we thought of them as chores because my dad had a pet shop. So, so that's part of my trauma was like having to clean the aquariums and everything that comes with
The
having
responsibility.
a parent that has a pet shop. But then later on, what I realized once we rescued Bono, the dog can't walk, was that we
Here's Bono.
Bono's
Where'd you
here.
find him?
From a neighbor. From my from your stepdad's neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Can't walk, right?
can't walk. He has metabolic bone disease. But having, like when we got him, it really reminded me of, like, it gave me a different approach to existence. How are dogs capable of joy and love when they don't even earn money? They don't have to deal with all those things, and they don't really have major ambitions. If animals are capable of appreciating life without all these things, maybe these things are not really that essential to even us humans. So that's how I wanted. These are some of the things that I was thinking about. How can these animals manage to have so much joy while having very little in terms of autonomy even? And got me to think that maybe as humans, we tend to overreach because of our capacities, but maybe having more simple desires would lead us to would help us achieve greater joy.
Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit about what you said. You have a memory, which is what kept you like at a distance. Dogs don't really have that kind of memory.
Yeah.
And their memories can eventually be overridden. You can override them. And so I think that's why they're just present today. And yeah, if they can be traumatized as well, but you can win them back often. And I think our memories can sometimes hinder us because we want something the way we want it, the way we think it's best. And so we're not open to something new from fear. And I think the dogs have that kind of, and cats have that courage. They have to be in the moment because their life depends on it, particularly if they are community animals. I don't want to use the word stray anymore. We like to call them community animals. And so we have so much to gain and learn from them. They bring us back to being human. Yeah. So you were saying, he was saying about your fighting. I'd like to hear more about, because women fight differently than men.
Yes.
And I don't mean that women are stronger or men are stronger. No, I just, women, the capacity to endure is it's very horizontal.
Yes.
and it's deep, but it's also very horizontal, where I feel men can suffer deeply, very vertical. They can, but women, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It also applies to, we used to talk about how we view success differently. Like I told him, he views success as a ladder that he has to climb. And I said, I view success like horizontally, like as a garden, as a farm, because that's how I see my influence, what the people I help. That's how I see success. Like the wider my reach is, the more successful I am. For me, he sees it like as a ladder that he has to
Yeah.
climb.
So it's a good combination.
Yeah, it's a good combination. It's a wide reach. It's horizontal and vertical. So.
Yeah, yeah. How has that changed you? How has success changed you? You obviously aren't going to be successful all the time. So as you become taller or go up the ladder or go broader, are you able to risk more? Are your fears assuaged? Is there something like that? Because you were saying now you're fighting for the film. Do you know why? Or it's just a feeling? Because some feelings you can't put into words. That's where where silent film
Yeah.
you could see it on the face of someone, right? You don't need any words, or sometimes it's the music. But they were saying horror movies, it's really the music that gets you. So yeah, so
I had a realization. We were having this discussion about that one because I realized like we had a complete different mindset, and I had an epiphany realization why. Because I thought of success as something vertical. Because in school, you have to be in the top here, top that, so that other people can hire you. So it comes from a very working class mindset to have to excel or to compete with other people because there's only a limited number of opportunities for promotions, for vertical mobility. Whereas Janelle was raised in a, I think, wealthier home where the concept of success was networking. Like the more people you knew, the more people you could work with and collaborate with, and that's going to yield your success. They're not thinking in terms of how an employee would, but thinking in terms of growing their social circle so that there's an ease of communication with regard to the businesses that they might get into. And I think that was a very important realization on my part because it also allowed me to recontextualize why I wanted to do things. Whereas before, I wanted to be the best or get an award so that I'd get other opportunities. I soon realized that maybe I'm not doing it correctly. That maybe I should be using these opportunities as vehicles for my actual purpose. What do I want to do? I want to tell stories. So regardless of, it made me shift my focus that regardless of whether or not it wins an award or earns a lot of money, it's still something that we want to do. Not because of any other outcome aside from the fact that we want to do it because it fulfills us. So the focus has shifted from this being something that might be profitable or might be used for clout or honor or glory to something that we want to do it because it fulfills us. We care about the message and and I think
so there's a
that's
discovery act. There's
Yes.
a self-discovery part in that.
Yeah.
And how is it to be able to discover yourself?
At first, it was disorienting, to be honest, because there's some regret because why didn't I think of this before? Why did I only realize it now, having burned out myself so many times before? And
Maybe that's the tuition fee.
maybe that's the
Yeah.
tuition fee.
Everybody has to pay a tuition fee.
Mhm.
and I feel, and that will continue. That will really continue on and on and on. You slam yourself on a brick wall at 1,000 kilometers an hour, and it's the picking. It's the need to, like a dog, lick your wounds, be quiet, and that's what, I don't know who said it. That's where the light comes in, where the wounds are, where the openings are. But you can't have an opening if you're always so whole. Yeah. So, are you better now?
I'm actually about to go through chemotherapy again.
Okay.
Because during my recent PET scan, we found like one node that lit up. So we just want to make sure that we get everything out. So yeah, I'm gonna be.
I'm sorry if I'm asking too difficult questions.
No, it's okay.
It's all right. You just tell me when you want to stop, huh?
It's okay. I also like to talk about it because a lot of people are not aware of the type of cancer that I have because it's very, very rare.
Which is that?
It's a non-gestational choriocarcinoma. It's a type of germ cell tumor. It's ovarian cancer. And I think, ilan yun? One in 380 million women get it.
How did you know you had it?
I tested positive sa pregnancy test. So we thought we were having a baby. And then I was wondering why the line was really faint. And so I had the blood test done. And then my OB was like, oh, congratulations, you're pregnant. Let's get an ultrasound. And when we went to have my ultrasound taken, we found out that there was a mass instead of a baby. So we had it taken out, they did a biopsy, and we found out that it was cancer. So it was a very wild journey for the two of us. This was last year.
Yeah. We were in the middle of making a film.
Yeah, we were in the middle of making a film. And yeah, that's when we found out. So yeah, it's been a very colorful year for us. But it also made us stronger as a couple.
Of course.
Yeah, we got married because of, all of the, we were,
So
we
you
realized
weren't married?
We weren't married before.
Okay.
So we realized na parang, oh my gosh, I can't, I told him after my operation, I can't die being just your girlfriend. Like, I have to at least be a wife. Na parang, ano
Make
yun?
her honest.
Oo. Ano yun? Girlfriend lang ako? Ex? Ganon? Pag nawala ako, no. Sabi ko, hindi.
Buti naman nag-oo-to.
Oo naman siya.
Walang
Sabi
hiya
niya,
kung hindi.
oo. Let's do it soon.
Oo.
Yeah, so there. But it's been easier now than last year. Last year was heavier. It was,
Of course.
yeah, I felt na parang, oh my gosh, is this the end of my life, the world? But now, we're more appreciative of all of the small things, the small blessings, the small moments. So, yeah.
It really changed our perspective about what we should consider important. Because before we had dreams of like going abroad and joining international film festivals. But then we realized like if these things come, then great. But if it doesn't, that's not really the purpose of why we were making films. At the end of the day, we made films because it brought us closer together and we made memories and we were able to work with really great people that we admire and respect, the geniuses of their field. And it was its own reward. The
Of course.
opportunity and the privilege of working with really great artists who...
Well, you connect with them, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I always say it, humans are hardwired for connection.
Yeah.
And when you tap in deep, that's a part of yourself that you can share because everything else is fluff.
Yeah.
Or entertainment. That's nothing wrong with that, just for laughs and this and that. But even to have really good laughs, you have to get someone. In a way, I mean, not necessarily, you don't need to know them for very long, but you know where their energy is coming from. right? You don't even need to agree with them. But yeah, I just realized a week ago I met up with friends that I haven't seen in a long, long time. And I have one friend that's very witty and comical and very intelligent, and she was making me laugh. I was like, I said, I'm gonna get abs from this laughing because it was really funny. She was talking, sorry, Trump. She was talking about Trump's double chin that looks like a vagina.
Yeah.
And we were in a private room, and the waitress, I could see her. She was like so awkward, and I was laughing because with the Filipino stuff, and she's a copyright editor, so she knows exactly where to put the punches. And then we have a very close friend who's very quiet. But sometimes when she talks, it's like, wow! So we were like, with a little bottle of wine, we were just like, couldn't even really eat because all we did was laugh, right? Because we all know each other and get to certain levels of friendship as time passes, as experiences. And you're talking about the filmmaking is one, your recent, journey is another. Did this happen before or after was the script for A.ni.mál already written when you found out?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was written back in 2022.
Oh, okay.
It usually takes a while for projects to come to fruition, so sometimes they do take a few years. And this was written a while back. That was way before the diagnosis. And it was also, we got our diagnosis in the middle of our last film, 2025, around
May, June.
Yeah, around that time. So we were really in the middle of in the throes of post-production for our last film, Hydra. And after that, Animal came in, and we had to decide whether or not we were going to do it last January. When we finally decided that we were going to do it, we consulted our friends if it could be done at the amount that we wanted to do it in, because we didn't really have a lot of finances to front it with, especially because she was undergoing treatment at the time. But with the help of, again, very good people, we were able to finally finish it. And we do hope that the audience enjoys it, although it's a very dark comedy.
A dark comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, did you change anything of the script because of or did you tweak the script or the movie because of what you were going through?
I added a little bit of current events, like for example, the flood control, the ghost health projects. They were added into the mix because initially it was more of like a general critique about impunity and how certain people get away with things because of how they're protected by the systems that entrench them in power. And I wanted to use that as sort of a jumping point
Yes.
or springboard for questions I want asked, like with regard to how animals should be viewed. Are they viewed as property? How do we, if they're property, why do they have, should they have rights? So these questions that spring up when these discussions happen, I wanted them to have I wanted an opportunity to talk about that without really shoving it into other people's, shoving it down people's throats. So we used the corruption scandal as a vehicle for how these matters can be discussed within the film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so there's a lot of layering. And I guess it depends on how if the person's ready to see it or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's there. Yeah, I always think about that. I love books that transcend time and age. Certain children's books, I always say, like Little Prince, a child, an adolescent can read it, and then you can read it as an adult, and it has very textured nuances that you really have to think about. And I think it's good that you layered it that way with the current events, because I don't know, the Filipino memory is so short. And maybe that's how they manage. I think it might be a way to manage their own personal daily trauma.
Yes.
And so they can't linger in that memory because and they can't even really pay attention to it.
To some degree, the Filipino people are like dogs.
Can you
Very short
expound?
memory. They have a very
yeah.
short memory. And the unfortunate part also is that they can be utilized for the purposes of other people because of how short
Their
their
memories
are. Like they've already been victimized before, and the same group of people are going to be victimized again. Simply because in order to cope with their realities, they need to have a short memory.
Yeah. And aside from short memory, they have to walk around sometimes with blinders.
Yes.
But this is not only a certain segment in our community. It goes all the way up because of those who benefit,
That's true.
right? There is often a sentiment that, they're buying their votes, it's the poor people, blah, 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 it's the less fortunate, blah, blah, blah. But the oligarchs are as much to blame because they help the organization of that.
Yes.
And to some degree, like, can't really pinpoint the blame because power is pervasive and everyone from top to bottom has to negotiate with it.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what the film is about.
Yeah.
How power appears to us and even how good people are forced to negotiate with it in order to function in their daily lives.
Correct. Absolutely. And I always make that distinction with the oligarchs and whatever and the poor people only to play devil's advocate to the people that I know. That it's very easy, or there's a need to blame. There's a need to blame. There's a need to obfuscate and put that on the side because hindi yan ako.
Yeah.
Hindi ako yan.
Basically to other
Yes,
the
kasi hindi
idea of
nila
corruption.
kayan.
Yeah.
Hindi pa nila kaya. And that's what I always say, that, you have to get in touch with your own darkness.
Because, there's a spectrum to how much we enable. I mean, we're all complicit to it.
Exactly.
So we need people to blame because it's easier to do that than to admit to our own complicity. So the lower classes blame the upper classes, and then the upper class blame the lower classes. But at the end of the day, we're all complicit to it because we all negotiate with the same power.
Absolutely. I really like that. We negotiate with power and the lack of power we have within ourselves because we don't go deep inside. And I understand that can be a really scary place, but that's where you also find yourself, which is why I feel it's always important that anybody finds themselves and what their purpose is. I know it sounds such a fluffy idea, purpose, but it could be being a mother. It could be being a correct tindera in the palengke.
Yeah.
It can be so many things, and it's self-discovery that I find very interesting, and that's actually part of Biyaya also. Like, we recently changed our mission vision. We're still toying with it because it's too long, so I have to make it shorter. And our hashtag is animal welfare is human welfare, and so it's not only about caring about the animals, but caring about the humans behind the caring of those animals. How was it that when you went to the sanctuary? How did you feel when you went? Were you surprised? Were you or wala lang?
Initially, me and my crew, we were very overwhelmed because we realized that no matter how much you like dogs, 1,500 of them is a different
There's
experience.
1/8 na now.
Yeah, it's a completely different experience, and I think a lot of them were initially rattled about with regard to like the amount of dogs that their eyes can see. But they adjusted well because Biyaya has a very accommodating crew. They really helped us. They guided us. They made sure everyone was safe, and we really can't complain. We love the location, and I think it really added a very nuanced texture because it's really different when you do it in an actual shelter than when you pretend to be in one and then
Yeah, well, that's the thing, no. I'm gonna tie it back to actors, movie stars, celebrities, right? So that's why I'm very interested in the rise of certain actors now, because they don't look the mold. You know, we need our Javier Bardens and our Daniel Day-Lewises and Pedro Aldovar. Yeah, sure. We need that because I feel like I'd like deeper stories to be told for those stories to touch people, and if the actor is just there to look good, I feel I'm not so sure you touch something. I just don't know if you touch the inner core of people. So I'm gonna tie that back to, being in the sanctuary and seeing the dogs and feeling overwhelmed. And can you imagine how a dog in the street feels when there's so many humans? So that
oh right yeah.
that can be reversed. That can be turned around. They don't feel safe. There's so many of us. Right?
It's true.
Right. So from a perspective, and that's why I love nuance. Because it's like, hey, have you thought of this? And that's why when I have friends and it's like, okay, I'm gonna show you who I am. Can you take it? Because how are we gonna build a relationship if you wanna go deeper, but you can't take it, right? Yeah. And I'm fine with relationships that are on the surface. You need everything. You need a whole gamut of things, but there's nothing more humanly fulfilling than to make connections with dogs, cats, humans. And that's why I'm interested about your crew and that they were overwhelmed. Of course they will be overwhelmed. Impossible not to be, because there's more of them than of you. And I hope that brought them a sense of kaya nila. And because sometimes we doubt.
And I like what you said about it also teaches us to empathize about how a stray might feel in the world of men. In the world
With
of
cars.
humans. Yeah, with cars and everything. So
and
it must have been
motorcycles.
more terrifying because at least human beings, we're familiar with dogs and we know what we're getting into. But for a puppy or diba?
or a kitten.
A kitten to be stuck out there, not knowing where to go, what to do, and to be surrounded by people who can hurt them or beings who can hurt them that they don't understand. It's really, I think, having experience being surrounded by dogs really helped me understand what they might feel on the other side.
Yeah, I sometimes humans are too human. Tao lang. But there's also the fear. We're too much driven by fear. All animals are. But our minds take us too far
That's true.
with the fear. We overthink. And I always say, okay, wait, what would Aya think, my dog, right? Or what would Yan Yan, who has half a face, think? And when you see them, it's like they don't think there's anything wrong, and they'll go with the flow. They'll know how to enjoy, and I find it like such a privilege. Is there anything else in terms of your thoughts, your feelings about this film, about encountering the strength that you needed to pull through to fight for the film? It happened. Are you happy with the outcome totally? Would you have needed more money? Do you think more money would have helped you? What do
I'll
you
let
think?
Janel answer this one.
Tell me, yeah, because she is the producer.
I think I'm very happy with how it turned out because we were able to do it with the right people.
Okay.
We were able to
Again, it's the human connection.
yes, it's the human connection and the purpose is there. Like I'm doing this to raise awareness for the animals and to ask the right questions, to start a conversation, just to get people to talk about it, especially in this current age where people like to post their opinions online and like fight online. So when you just pop a single question there, a conversation starts and ideas get thrown here and there, and some ideas are good, some ideas are like really bad, but at least it's there. Like you can pick na parang okay, we can solve things if we collectively try to solve things. It's not just one person na,
If you're lucky.
if we're lucky, yeah.
Yeah, because some people think that their
They're right.
opinion is the only opinion that matters. In fact,
Yes.
we got bashed. I got bashed about 2 years ago for something, and I went on live to try to explain and blah blah blah. And this fellow was like non-stop online, right? And so there was this other fellow saying da da da. Anyway, 2 years. No, and then there was a meeting, and I called them out, called them out during the meeting, not online. And then we had a recent conference, and the same guy came to me and said, I owe you an apology. I said, you goddamn right you owe me an apology. I said, you are an asshole. Outright asshole. I said, and I can be a bitch too sometimes, but you were an outright asshole. Talking from your ego seat. Yeah. Cheap seat. Right? And he was like, I was like, and I just, see, she got mad.
yeah,
she
she got
felt
mad.
that. She felt that.
Yes.
And it felt so good because I decided not to say anything while they were bashing. It was just like radio silence. And people saying, no, we want to post this. That. I said, no, radio silence. Nothing. Let them, because it makes the story much longer. So pertaining to your, yeah, it's good. Because, I will still look at that and say, yes, I need to improve on this. I need to improve on that. Because you can build your courage. It's a muscle.
Yes.
I mean,
And I think one of the things we were successful in doing with regard to how we made the movie was to portray how it takes some nuance to negotiate and navigate with power so that we cannot really outright judge like other people and what they do and how they relate with power because we don't understand the context arrangement. We don't understand the context of their relationship. It could be a matter of survival for the other person
Absolutely.
to negotiate with this power. Otherwise, they could get in trouble. So it really helped us also how to gain a broader perspective that the world isn't really black and white.
No. No.
And
Actually,
it's
that's
just
what
different
makes it
spectrums of gray.
interesting. Gray, blue, pink, like the sunset. But the powers that be, that's true. But how about negotiating with yourself? Aren't some of us can be
Yeah.
our most difficult critics? We can be really hard on ourselves, harder than most. And so we flagellate ourselves, right?
He's his most.
Yeah, because I think I'm my worst critic.
Yes, absolutely. Me too. Me too.
And over the years, I've learned to be more forgiving of myself.
I'm still learning.
Sometimes I just think that we deserve a little bit of credit for even just being able to participate with regard, especially with what's going on in our life. We were able to do it to gather a crew that was talented enough, and we helped them prepare to be able to do the shoot in 4 days. Because not many films are completed in 4 days.
But you have the magic word, talent.
Yeah.
That's a gift from God. But if you don't go in, or if you don't hone it. So I always say, when people say, "Oh, I wanna work for you," or "I wanna volunteer," my first question: what's your talent? What's your talent? Are you good at drawing? Are you good with the animals? Are you good in accounting? Are you good in marketing? Are you good at talking to people? What's your talent? What makes you tick? What makes you feel alive? Know thyself. If you don't know yourself, what are you going to share? But what are you going to share with yourself? It all starts with the self, right? And of course, you're going to mess up. But mistakes, that's how you learn, right? Do better next time. But I know I'm like that also, because it's like my husband's like, "Hey, you've done so much. What the hell? Can't you accept that?" And I'm like, "No, no, I can't. It's not enough. It's never enough. I can do more. I can do more. I can do more. I can do more." And that's, it's a survival mechanism. I have some PTSD, and that's how I survive. And you probably understand this from your point of view. And it's just to be able to look at someone and say, "Hey, I got you.
Yeah.
I understand you." Maybe you don't completely, but you have a flavor. Kumbaga, it's aromatherapy. Naamoy mo.
Amoy
Alam
ko
ko
yan.
na yon. Amoy ko yon. Amoy ko yon, right? Yeah, so, yeah, that's and I always tell my husband, dead fish go with the flow. I go against the current, kind of thing, right? And it's maybe it's a warrior mentality. Maybe I was a female or male Viking at some point, or God knows what, right? But it brings a certain energy, and that energy validates something I can't really name. It's a feeling. It's like, I trail run. And when it's really warm, and then all of a sudden the breeze comes, and you're like, "Oh, thank God. Thank you for that. I needed that." And just to be aware that everything is there to help you. The doorknobs, you can open the door. Laughter. Somebody putting their arm around you. Nice hug. I love people who hug well. Or somebody who is daring enough to let you know how they think. and you to have this conversation, which is very similar to what you're doing. You're having a conversation outright with the public, and you don't know how that's going to land.
Yeah. And who I'm going to end up talking to.
Yeah.
Some are nice, some are rude.
Yeah. So it's like the Bible, fertile soil, lands on weeds, lands on whatever. So tell me, what are your hopes and aspirations for this film and moving forward?
Well, we hope that one of our goals was to unmask the politician, how they navigate naman from the position that they're in. Because in many movies there's this stereotype that someone is only bad if they're holding a gun or surrounded by bodyguards. But there's a different element of malevolence that we wanted to portray to make people understand that different politicians operate in different ways. Some would be nice to you, only you. Some would be kind to you, but behind the scenes, they're doing something nefarious. And it's this nuanced portrayal of what kind of violence they are capable of without even holding a gun, without the bodyguard, without even raising their voice. That's the kind of violence and power that we wanted to portray. And of course, along the way, we wanted to talk about the science about animals. Like, they have a similar nervous system to us. They experience same amount of pain. They're capable of pain as much as we are. And among other things about other animals as well. So we're trying to hit two birds with one stone to show like the vulnerability
you might hit
of
three.
animals.
One that you're not aware of.
So, like we wanted to show how vulnerable animals are, and also, in many ways, how more beastly some humans can be.
Mas
Mas
masahol.
hol pa sila, mas hayop pa sila sa hayop.
Yeah. Yeah, so is it showing already?
It's going to be showing on August 7.
So
starting
can you invite?
Yes, please watch A.ni.mál. Our premiere, our gala premiere is going to be on August 7 at 5 p.m. at the Shangri-La. And it's going to be screening at Shangri-La, at Gateway, and some select Ayala malls.
Until
August 18.
Yeah, until August.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to thank you. I always say, whatever comes is welcome. Oh, it's a very heavy statement because a lot of darkness can come, right? Like Forrest Gump says, a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. Thank you for what you do. Very touched. And I feel it's a gift to have encountered and that our paths crossed amongst the sea of dogs.
I know.
And
You
thank
know,
you, Miss Rina. Like, if we wouldn't be able
Just
to
call me
finish
Rina, please.
Thank you, Rina, for allowing us to shoot at your shelter.
Yeah, no, it's not about point of allowing or not. It's the sanctuary is a sanctuary for everyone. And as we find our way, because it was, a lot of it was unintentional to be that big, it wasn't planned. It was not planned. If I had an inkling as to how heavy it was going to be, I wouldn't have done it. Right? This is hindsight. Right? But I'm glad I did. And sometimes that's what they say, right? You can drive in a storm and you can only see 5 meters ahead of you, but you can get to your destination just going every 5 meters. 5 meters. You can be baha, everything, And you just need to see a little bit ahead of you and you will be able to reach your destination when you're supposed to reach it. Has nothing to do with you. Your only thing is you're facing the right direction and you go a bit at a time as the universe, the environment, as whatever it is. I've learned that, if not today, then when God wants. So whatever comes is welcome.
He would always ask me, do you want to try directing or writing? Because that's his job. I do the operations part of it. And sometimes I think of that, but
Why not? Even if just a segment or something, you'll be so surprised being around him and then having your take, and then that book, how do you say? It's like when hot water and cold water mix, or like hot air, cold pressure, hot pressure, and we get all these typhoons. But sometimes it's very healing.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. So
Yeah,
let
we'll
us
see.
know.
I don't know. We'll see. It's just a feeling.
Good, at least you had the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.